Guys, it's Mikeš. Today is the 7th of June and we're finally back in the garden after another week of being in Prague, doing boring things like going to work and other things. So I'm really happy about being back again. And of course, since it has been raining so much all the time and I wasn't able to cut the grass whenever I wanted to, so now it's time to get the grass cut. So I'm just lying here with the lawnmower and the grass is so tall. I need to go through it twice, even thrice, to make sure it is cut. So I really need to get this done. So let's get on with the video and let's begin by cutting some grass. The one surprising thing I find about cutting the grass this late when it's so tall is that there are so many like ant nests just riddled everywhere inside of that really tall grass. So that is something that really boggles my mind, just seeing how many ants there are here in the garden and how much damage they actually do to my vegetables, bringing the aphids and other things. Lastly, there's this, I don't know what this is, but there's just this massive bush growing randomly over here. I just couldn't bring myself to cut it, so I'm just gonna leave it here and see what this turns into. So yeah, I've done half of the garden. I'm gonna leave the rest for tomorrow or for later. It's really exhausting. It's so tall that it's very difficult to cut. So it's finally finished work, so I can finally run off to the forest. I just cannot wait. It's been another week, a lot of rain, so I'm sure there's gonna be even more mushrooms than there were last week. So let's head out to the forest. So I'm finally in the forest after a week. I've been waiting so long for this, and I just came in. I just parked my car a couple of meters away and I'm here. And I've already found a couple of Greville's bullets. This is a usual spot for them along this bank that I'm standing on. So I'll be gathering those and let's hope we find many more mushrooms. Alright guys, we're at the entrance to our summer cap forest that I've been here in many of my previous videos. This is the place where they have been growing the most. The surprising thing for me is just upon entering already, there were so many mushroom cuttings just lying around everywhere. So it seems that a lot of people have been coming to this place during the week while I was in Prague. Yeah, it's very disheartening to see. So, you know, but it's a free country. Everyone can come and pick mushrooms however they want and how many they want. So let's just hope something was left for me. Hopefully I'll be able to find some. So let's just go ahead and look for some more mushrooms. As the weather has finally improved and the nights are much hotter now, and there is no more rain, that just means that we can finally start to grill again. So for today, I have some delicious pork belly that we will be grilling in the magical way, as I like to call it. And for this, we're gonna be using the Peruvian Cylinder, which is just an ordinary barrel that has an attachment on the top where you can just hook your meat, and you will then just hang it in it, and you will be generating your heat from the bottom. So anything that's in the barrel is gonna get cooked and smoked at the same time. And man, I gotta say that anything that comes out of the Peruvian Cylinder, or Cilindro Peruano as it's called in Peru, is just so delicious. So I'm really excited that we can finally use this again. The grilling season has truly begun now that we can actually grill more often. So this pork belly is just ordinary pork belly. We left it in a 50% salt water solution so that the meat can cure, and additionally put a lot of salt on top of the skin so that it can really dry out and come out extremely crispy and very delicious. So that's how the meat was prepared. Nothing special, just salt, nothing else, just natural. So I'll begin by lighting this fire. Already prepared everything, and hopefully this will burn very well. If anything, I have some more extra firewood here to keep the fire going, because this needs a lot of heat. So just gonna grab a match and start this fire. Right, the fire has burned out and the coals are nice and hot. They're very red. It's actually burning my legs at the moment. I spared no expense with coal because last year I kind of messed up making this. There wasn't enough heat and I wasn't able to salvage it. So now I added a ton of coal to ensure everything goes smoothly. So now it's time to start cooking our delicious pork bellies. So I'm gonna begin by placing this on top to cover it. And now if I remove the lid, there's so much heat in here, and there's a lot of heat and a lot of smoke will start coming up as well. So the pork bellies are gonna be beautifully cooked in two ways at once. So we have the pork belly here already on the hooks. So I'll just place them in here and wait for them to do their magic. All right, they're in, and now I just have to place the lid on. There's a little ventilation hole here, just to make sure the fire doesn't die down, as well as some open doors over here to keep airflow coming in. So we can now leave this for about 30 minutes, and then we can enjoy some delicious, crunchy and juicy pork belly, and I cannot wait. All right, it has been 30 minutes now, so let's check on these bad boys. Oh yeah, the skin looks delicious brown. So I think we can leave it for 10-15 more minutes to get really crispy and delicious. Alright guys, it's been a very long day and I don't think there's any better way to finish it than with a piece of some delicious crispy pork belly. So I'm just gonna cut right into this. Well, it's slippery. Look at all that meat and the fat. Oh wow. Oh. Damn, this is so good. Sorry guys, this is so delicious. Oh yeah. So crunchy. It's a beautiful Sunday, guys. It's the 9th of June, and yesterday I actually took the day off just to relax and unwind. There has been a lot of stress lately, so Saturday being like the only full day off where you just wake up and you know you have the full day ahead of you with no responsibilities. Like Sunday is also great, but we will then have to leave to Prague, and it's just doesn't have the same vibe as a Saturday where you actually have a full day that you can take advantage of. So I relaxed, a lot of sitting on the deck, just relaxing. I also, of course, went to the forest and came back with another half a basket of mushrooms. I actually, part of it, I put in the dryer so that we can have more dried mushrooms. And seeing as we ate a lot of mushroom meals last week and the weather was really nice, so we decided to grill a lot of the times. So I actually just sauteed the mushrooms on a little bit of butter and with a lot of salt. And once you leave it to cook for about 10 to 15 minutes, they are cooked and they can last in the fridge for a week if you know that you're gonna use them during the week. And if not, you can just throw them in the freezer where they'll last for a year, maybe even more. So that's what I did yesterday. And I also finished cutting the grass yesterday. I actually decided to leave this little patch of grass and another one over there. It has a lot of flowers and I think it just adds character to the garden, and it'll keep the bees and bumblebees and many other insects coming here while the rest of the grass grows back and some more flowers appear. And now that it's Sunday, I can come back and do some gardening. So the first thing I'm gonna do is, in the bed behind me there are 2 rocket plants, and I'll be getting rid of one of them because it's vining, starting to vine everywhere, taking up a lot of space and intruding into other plants. And the other rocket is not as good as the first one, so I'm just gonna be removing that one. Alright guys, it's 3 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon and I've done everything in the garden there is to do for this weekend. So I'll just finish recording this outro, I guess you could call it, and then I'll probably just lie here for a couple of minutes, maybe a whole hour, and then it's gonna be packing to go back to Prague. So I have a list here of things that I still want to show you that I did on Friday and during the day as well. Since this isn't like a huge production value recording, like me doing this garden, this is more like for posterity. So I have it on a list. I didn't try to memorize it so that it's more immersive, but I think this is a bit more human. Like, it's difficult to remember a list of 12 things. It would take me a bit of time to memorize this, and it would probably take me a couple of shots. I would probably mess up at some point. So I'll just begin by saying that the tomato suckers that I removed from the tomato plant a couple of weeks ago are doing really great. The ones that I put into pots have already rooted very well. You can actually already see the roots at the bottom of the pot, and the ones in the raised bed are also doing really well. So we successfully duplicated our tomato plants. So that is really great news. Following that, the big pepper plant that I bought from the garden center, I transplanted it into a larger pot. It was in a really small pot, so it needed an upgrade, and it's doing really great. The same goes for the pumpkin. I also put it into a much larger pot, since I'm still not sure where to put it, but I'm pretty sure a space will open up very soon in the raised beds. And in the interim, it's just gonna be sitting in a larger pot until I figure out where I can put it. Moving on, I then transplanted the little chili peppers into larger pots. The roots were also coming out of the little plug trays, so it was time for an upgrade. Then I also wanted to transplant the rhubarbs into larger pots, because again, the roots were already coming out. They were due for an upgrade. But unfortunately, I ran out of potting mix, so I was only able to transplant one rhubarb. And since today is Sunday, the garden centers are not open at the moment, so I'll just pick some more potting mix on the way here next week. But due to the fact that I ran out of potting mix, I still had a little bit left over, and I wasn't able to put the zucchini into the raised bed, so I upgraded the zucchini into a slightly larger pot. I had barely enough potting mix to accomplish that, and I've noticed that the garlic will probably be ready really soon. You can tell that the garlic is ready whenever the stalk starts to fall down and it'll lay flat on the ground. That's when garlic is ready. So I've noticed that the garlic is slowly beginning to fall down a bit. So once the garlic is harvested in, I think, a week or two, I will be able to put the zucchini in the corner there. So in the meantime, it's going to be in a larger pot, so it'll have to last there for a couple of more weeks. Then my climbing beans have finally germinated, only 2 out of 6, but that's I'm very happy about it. Either way, at least some of them have germinated. So I put 6 more into a plug tray, so that hopefully we can get six beans that we can put here on this trellis. It has three rods on each side, so perfect for 3 beans on each side. And this will be the coolest hanging spot in the garden, like alongside the calendulas here and underneath a roof of beans. So I really can't stress how excited I am for the beans to have come up, because it's like the thing that I'm most excited about, so that we have this beautiful bean arch here in the summer. So at least 2 have come out, so that's at least some progress. Then I have the bok choy and salad seedlings that have finally germinated. they're coming along really well. They just poked out of the ground a bit, so that's really good to see. The bush beans are also germinating, which I don't know if bush beans are easier to germinate than climbing beans, but the bush beans are coming out on the first try. At least that gives me a bit of respite to not think that I'm terrible at beans. At least the bush beans have germinated very well. Then the radishes I planted last week here, the other row of radishes I planted has also germinated nicely, and I thinned them out a bit, so now all the radishes are on their way to grow delicious roots that I'll harvest in 2 or 3 weeks, should be. Then the peas behind me are growing like crazy. They're completely out of control. I need to put even more sticks on it because I put sticks on one side because it's leaning towards the back. I put sticks on that side for it to be straight. And then I come here the next week and the bushes are leaning onto the other side. So I've put like sticks from both sides just to make sure it's growing straight. But I still need to put in a couple of more because it's really growing like crazy. There are a ton of peas on it and still a lot more flowers, so there will be more and more peas coming. I'm very happy about it. Peas are delicious. We harvested a few pods that were looking a bit ripe. They were still small, but man, were they sweet and delicious. And I also have pea plants on my balcony in Prague. Those peas were ready much sooner and they are just so delicious. So the peas are doing great and I'm very happy about that. Then I also had my first zucchini harvest. Very excited about that. There were 3 massive zucchinis and I harvested them and I cannot wait to try them. They're very, very good looking, perfect size, and they're just growing great. And there's one more zucchini that's growing and I'm positive that we'll get even more zucchinis from that plant this season. So it's much better than last year. We had only 2 zucchinis last year, so now we already have 3, so it's progress compared to last year. That's everything. So yeah, it's gonna be go back to Prague in a couple of hours, go to work, do some boring stuff, and hopefully we'll come back here Thursday or Wednesday afternoon and work remotely here so that we can be here in the peace and quiet and alongside the garden. That just makes everything better. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate every one of you watching. It's been a really interesting project, and yeah, it would be amazing if you could like, comment and subscribe, and see you next week, guys. Take care.